That's weird. It's always you, I think.
Oh, that might be why. Oh, that might be why. All right, we're good.
Okay.
One of these days we'll get it right the first time. All right, we're good. Welcome to Down the Middle. I'm your co-host Jake, and this right here is the ever impressive, ever impartial, technically not a two-time champion, but he retained his All Events Welcome Championship on Wednesday in several games of Uno. Bravo. But
Yeah.
I pulled out the win for the number one contendership, and you and I have a beer pong appointment
Which I will kick your butt
at some point in the. I'm not great at beer pong, but I'm better than I thought I would be at it.
I've only played it once, so I think at this point, when we do play this, you might beat me.
So basically, what's going to happen is everybody who watches the video that has played beer pong more than the both of us, which will be everyone, will be watching it, going, "Oh God."
Yeah, we'll be making fun of for this, but it's like it's whatever. It's an event.
What has two thumbs and doesn't give a shit? This guy right here. So anyway, back to wrestling. Some big news. I know we said this wasn't going to be like an update, but I feel like we just have to talk about this. And you said before we went live, I called that shit. Kenny Omega won the Impact and TNA championships.
Yes, he did.
I figured that was going to happen.
I will do this. I'll do the golf clap too. Golf clap for Kenny Omega, who won the Impact Unified World Heavyweight title. Kenny Omega is now a current 3-time World's Heavyweight Champion with the Impact title, with the AEW World title, and the AAA Mega World title. So, congrats to Kenny Omega on that one.
Well, I like what they're doing. And it could have been anyone. Obviously, it could have been any really, really good wrestler. It didn't have to be Kenny Omega. I'm glad it was. But I like what they're doing. And to me, I haven't watched the match, so I don't know if it was good or not. From what I've read, people were saying that they were kind of left wanting from Rich Swann's performance. But like I said, I don't know. I didn't watch it, or I haven't watched it yet. But I mean, Kenny pretty much had to win from a booking perspective, because think about this. Kenny's the AEW champion.
Yes.
He's not going to lose to the, and this isn't a slam on Impact, but like Kenny Omega, the AEW champion, is not going to lose to the Impact World Champion. If he did, that would be terrible booking, like beyond reason.
If they didn't do a finish to where neither champion lost their belts,
and that would have been a letdown.
Well, no. Well, I mean, okay, your belt. Then Rich Swann would kept his belt, yes, but he would have won the AEW title. I'm sorry, Rich Swann is just. I like the guy and everything, but Rich Swann is as far as he'll go as being a world champion. If you see,
unless something major changes with his character or persona, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, Rich Swann will never be like an AEW world champion or a WWE champion or whatnot. I'm sorry, but it's just the way he comes off and everything. It just looks like
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest too. I was kind of surprised when he won the Impact World Championship, and
right.
maybe that's because I just always seen him in a mid card role, but I just didn't. And again, I'm trying to say this in a way I'm not knocking Rich Swann, but
That-
I just
right.
didn't see him in my mind's eye. I just didn't see World Heavyweight Champion Rich Swann.
Right. Then that's what I was getting at too. It's like there's people who's been world champions. Like, really?
Well, arguably CM Punk's first run in WWE as the world champion. That wasn't so much his fault. That was how he was booked from there on out. But I would say that's an accurate.
Well, wait a minute. Whoa. Which belt are we talking?
The World Heavyweight Championship, not the ECW Championship.
Well, that's technically considered the world title at the time.
I know, but let's be real, it wasn't.
So you're talking about when he cashed in the Money in the Bank
Correct.
on Edge?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Right, that makes sense because his reign as world champion at the time. It's like, yes, he finally won the world title. The world title, and next thing you know, he was gone for a few months.
Yeah.
Because of his supposed injury at a pay-per-view. And then Randy Orton wins the title.
Now he goes into that in the CM Punk DVD. He goes into that saying how frustrated he was because he was like, "You're gonna give me the world championship, but then you're gonna like not have me act like a world champion." I don't know why they made that decision, but to me, it just looking back on it, it seemed kind of weird. Especially since WWE doesn't have a track record of doing things just to make the fans happy. Like they'll do it, but Daniel Bryan notwithstanding, but they booked that properly in the end. They kind of screwed the pooch a couple of times with it now that I think about it, but
right. He's another one. It's like his record can actually went with something, but he's too much of a injury prone type of thing where it's like they gave him the world title at SummerSlam, took it right back off of him same night. Randy Orton cashed in. Finally won at Mania, and then what happened a couple months later? They took it from him because he was injured. He had one or two title defenses against Kane. It's like his actual good run was when he turned heel, when he finally came back the second round, turned heel along the side with Rowan, and made the belt a hip belt.
Yeah, and then that went nowhere.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was thinking you were right. Never mind. I was thinking about when he was part of the Wyatt family, not when he was just teaming with Rowan.
Oh.
Which once again, I liked that belt.
Well, I mean, the belt was okay and everything. Like I've seen a replica of it in person. It's very light and everything else. So it's like, this is, but I understood the concept of the belt. I did. And I can go into another person that had a bad reign with the title, and that was Rey Mysterio.
Are you talking about when they gave him the belt shortly after Eddie died?
Any reign.
Well, yeah, but that one in particular, I was going to kind of defend because I kind of get that one. And I might even make the case that was arguably one of his better reigns now that I think about it.
That was his great reign.
Yeah, I was going to say, so that was the good one. I see what you're saying.
Right, like when he won it because of Eddie and everything, and he was having a good little run. But like it was actually when they're actually believing in shorter guys and smaller guys to be the world champion, but you still couldn't take him seriously because of his height.
Yeah, and that's kind of why. So New Japan does this thing where they actually adhere to weight classes, kind of. So what I mean by that is, like, for example, and Will Ospreay did this recently, but when Kenny Omega kind of became the new guy, if you go back and look, you'll notice that in those couple of months, probably within that year, he does gain some size. Now, whether or not he got up to an actual what is defined by New Japan as a heavyweight in that time, I don't know. But he's certainly over 205 pounds now.
But right, okay, but that part I get. But with Ray though, like he's still going to be the same.
That's what I'm saying. In New Japan, unless they fudged it, like I'm pretty sure they did with Will Ospreay, but I don't know. Maybe he bulked up to 205 for all I know.
Well,
I know he's wrestling. I know Will Ospreay is wrestling a little bit more like a traditional heavyweight now. He's not doing as much of the high flying stuff, and he does appear to have gotten some size, but that's irrelevant. My point is that New Japan at least fictionally adheres to the standard of a heavyweight being 205 pounds and above.
Right.
Rey Mysterio would have been a push, kind of like how, and actually they made fun of it at All In, how Marty Scurll had to get up to 205 pounds to fight Okada.
Right. Which, in that essence, is like, I don't see the point of why he has to gain all that weight to get just to fight Okada.
And again, remember, you have to remember this started out as being the Elite skid, where basically Okada was like, I'm not even going to give you the time of day because you're not even a heavyweight.
Right.
It was played for laughs, and I get it. But I guess my point being is that if Rey Mysterio was in New Japan, the best he could do would be either junior heavyweight champion or never openweight champion.
Or United States.
Oh, yeah, right. I forgot about the IWGP US title. Yeah, the newer one. Yeah, Rey Mysterio, I kind of feel like Rey Mysterio would have been more of a tag team. Oh, no, he probably would have won a Best of Super Juniors, a couple of them. Because I'm not taking a damn thing away from Rey Mysterio, but it's like you said, from a suspension of disbelief, perspective, it's kind of hard to buy that he would consistently win. Like, now, you could have booked it and still had him win. Like, it could have just been like a 1 in a million shot and he got lucky. Like, all the stars aligned and, yeah, but...
Well, no, and that's right, because there was the one time that he actually won the WWE title. That was when CM Punk disappeared. He won the WWE title from Miz. Well, beat the Miz to win the vacant WWE title. And then beginning of Raw, and the next thing you know, he's being challenged by John Cena at the end of Raw for the title, and then Cena beats him for it. It's like, really? Cena has to beat him to do this angle for unify the belts?
Yeah, and that whole thing kind of, like, that was like a step away from bullying, if you ask me. Like, the Cena's not going to lose to Rey Mysterio. Not for a title.
No, he's not. But it's the fact of, like, what's the point?
I don't know. I'm not in WWE creative. I couldn't answer that question.
All they did was give him another title run to get him closer to the 16-time world champion mark. That's all it did.
Yep. Speaking of John Cena, you going to see the new Fast and Furious movie with him in it?
No.
Okay, me neither. They're getting a little goofy.
Especially when they're talking about going to space in this one. It's like...
Yeah, I think they jumped the shark about 5 movies ago.
I'm sorry. I've gotten into a fight with my family about this one, and everybody can disagree with me about this. But I think the only reason why Fast and Furious was doing good again these last few movies even before Paul Walker died was because of The Rock.
Oh yeah, I don't dispute that. I did, however, see Hobbs and Shaw. It's not a Fast and Furious movie, but it's in that universe. That movie was funny as shit. That movie was hilarious.
I saw parts of it, but it's like the Fast and Furious movies are not the same like they were when they first started. Like, they're all about fast cars and everything else and yada yada, and all of a sudden, like, there's some police things. Like, I get that, but then you went away from the concept of that to, like, okay, now we're it's a mission. Every movie is a Mission Impossible type movie. Right. It's like, no, we're done. The movies have gotten stale and everything. That's why I said they've only gotten good again because they got The Rock in it. And I've got argued with this about the like Vin Diesel's the bigger star than The Rock. The Rock. I'm
No,
like, no, he's
no.
not.
And again, not taking a thing away from Vin Diesel. I'm a fan, but no.
He's okay.
I've always appreciated Vin Diesel in most of the movies, at least what I've seen of him in. But yeah, I would agree. There's no, The Rock is definitely the bigger name draw, especially now. Maybe back in the day they might have been on even billing, but The Rock is so much bigger than Vin Diesel now. I mean, like at the time of the first Fast and Furious movie.
Okay, well, even then, I only know Vin Diesel for Fast and Furious, the Riddick movies, and Groot.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The Rock, you know The Rock for everything.
Scorpion King, brother.
Scorpion King, Walkie Tall, Tooth Fairy. Hey, know him for everything. Leave me alone.
So Kenny Omega is now the new Impact Unified Champion. So that's going to be interesting. That guy's got a full schedule now. Yeah. I guess Impact's going to be doing a bunch of their tapings. So I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't see as much of Kenny on Dynamite here and there. He might be doing in some like teleprompt, like some via satellite things, but I don't think you'll see him wrestle all that much, which I think is fine.
Right, and I don't disagree with that either. But I mean, it's not that far of a flight, especially considering there are ones in Nashville, ones in Florida.
No, that's true. That's true. But I'll put it to you this way. Maybe I say that because that's how I want it to be. Because I'm really digging how it depends on whether or not you have a heel or face champion, obviously, because when Moxley was the champion, you saw him fairly often. But I like it when heel champions, particularly heel champions, like you just don't see them wrestle all that often. So that when you do, it just means I'm a fan of champions not wrestling all the time anyway, because then when they do, it means more. And if it's a guy you like seeing as the champion, it keeps him or her fresh, less likely to get injured and ruin a storyline.
No, you're right. You're right. I get it. I get what you're saying.
Because I mean, case in point, compare that with boxing or the UFC. Like when Conor McGregor was on top, how often did you see him fight? He was not on every UFC pay-per-view.
No, because they got so many belts in UFC that they got to make every, like they'll use like they'll use 3 of their belts, use the 2 lower card belts for that, and then use the top mid card belt as their main event belt. Right. Or it wasn't even about the belts; it's about a grudge fight type thing that would be the main event. Like yep. So.
My point being is that you might see McGregor fight once, twice a year.
Right.
And I like it when it's that big fight feel. Now, wrestling is obviously a little bit different because you have a weekly television show to concern yourself with. But to me, that's when... So WWE does it probably the worst where... And they don't do it as bad now, but gosh, they used to. It was so bad. Like in 2012, 2013, you'd open the show with the champion. They'd spend almost the entire episode, and this was pretty consistent, where the champion would be embroiled in some conflict with somebody that would end up being some kind of weird tag match or stipulation match at the end that would always get ruined or interrupted, or there was never a clean victory. Like this happened almost every week. Is like, I don't need or want to see the heavyweight champion, the world champion, 6 times on the same show.
Well, then you're talking about 2002, 2003 then when Triple H was on top.
Well, yeah, I'm not disputing that. This is mainly, well, I guess they're kind of doing it with Roman Reigns now again, too. So, well, I mean, WWE does it more than anybody.
Oh, they were doing it with Edge.
Yeah. But Edge was actually entertaining.
Okay, but But here's the thing that you do forget though: Dynamite's on one night, Impact's on another night.
Yeah, I know.
So either way,
you're gonna see more Kenny Omega. I get that, but that's because he's on 2 different shows now.
right? Well, technically 3, but whoever gets AAA, there you go.
Down in Mexico, I'm not even sure what their TV schedule is. Well, I think it is weekly.
It's Saturdays.
I didn't watch that because I was watching it for a while, but then they stopped putting it up.
Last I knew, when I was younger, I knew when I was watching it Saturdays, but I don't have Saturday.
They were putting it on YouTube, but I'm not getting notifications for new episodes anymore, so I guess they stopped. Which I was really excited because I wanted to watch AAA, and then I watched AAA, and it's like watching a car crash blindfolded. Like, I can't make heads or tails out of what's going on when I watch AAA.
That's the one thing that does suck about it. It's like, okay, I'm just watching it for the wrestling, not understanding what they're talking about.
That's not even what I'm talking about. It's whatever. The Spanish doesn't bother me. It's the fact that, like, when you're watching a match in AAA, and I assume it's the same in CMLL, like, it's not even just the wrestling. It's even how fast they cut the cameras, and, like, there's way too much going on, and they're only showing a fraction of it. And then you're like, wait a minute, I thought that dude was eliminated, or when did that dude get tagged in? Because I didn't see it.
No,
and then,
right.
I guess the best example I can share is I watched, before they stopped broadcasting him, I watched the last Triple Mania 2019. I take that back. It was Triple Mania 2019. And they were doing this Battle Royale type match. I couldn't tell you what the hell was going on because I couldn't follow it at all. But I know that people were getting eliminated by being thrown over the top rope because people were leaving when that was happening. So this one dude gets thrown over the top rope. He's out. And then this other guy eliminates himself just so he can do this weird, like, this, basically just to get him. So he eliminates himself by doing this crazy dive over the top rope, almost misses the dude, almost lands on his neck. It accomplishes nothing, and now he's eliminated from the match, except he's not eliminated from the match because he gets back in the ring.
So he's not eliminated from the match because technically nobody threw him over the top rope, but he eliminated himself because he went over the top rope. But yeah, that makes no sense.
Exactly. So I'm guessing in AAA rules, to be eliminated, you have to be thrown over the top rope.
But if you go over the top rope yourself, that's not considered an elimination.
But that makes no sense because then at any point, all you would have to do is if somebody's coming for you, just hop over the top rope and get out the ring.
Right, and
this is what I'm talking about.
That's rules in Mexico. Way
I don't think it's a rule. That's my problem. I don't think that's the rule. I just think it was like. And don't get me wrong, I love high spots. I love dives, but to me, that was just like.
Because no, well, to me though, it's like I get it, and it's stupid, but that's how Mexico works.
I get
it. It's always high spots. So, right, unless you're thrown over the top rope, they're allowed to do dives over the top rope, but go back into the match until they're actually thrown over the top rope. To me, it's like, no, if you go over the top rope, you're done.
Yeah, that's the rules of the match. But then again, there's that kind of famous story now when the Lucha Brothers came backstage and Jericho didn't chew him out, but apparently he kind of opened up on him a little bit about tagging.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, but apparently they took it to heart and got better.
Well,
that just goes to show you in Mexico, it's just not a priority.
Right. Well, which is going to lead into our next segment because you're talking about Mexican wrestling and everything of people who's been released.
Have to do with Mexican wrestling?
Well, because somebody who was actually big wrestling and everything, especially Lucha Underground, talking about Ivelisse.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you did there. Yeah, Ivelisse did get released from AEW, and it's unclear as to why, but the rumor mill says that she and Thunder Rosa were not getting along.
Well, See, and I didn't hear about that. I heard it was more of a wasn't really being used.
Well, according to an interview that Eva Lise did, she's basically saying that the reason she got released is that Thunder Rosa was doing everything she could backstage to ruin her reputation. Which I don't know that I believe that.
Because how could Thunder Rosa have a say in AEW when she's technically not an AEW personality? Which that's more of a she's more of an NWA thing.
Well, but not only that, I mean, Thunder Rosa runs a female only promotion in Texas, Mission Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So you would think, and then I'm just thinking about some past things that have happened in regards to Ivelisse and contracts, because she was released from WWE and from WWE Developmental, and some of the again, these are all rumors. I cannot confirm or deny. I was not there, but some of the rumors cited attitude problems. And so now this happens, and I'm kind of looking at it, and then there were rumors that she was difficult to work with in Lucha Underground as well. And again, I don't know, and I like Ivelisse. I enjoy watching Ivelisse's matches. I think she's really good. But I'm starting to see a pattern here, and without being able to ask her directly, I don't know.
See, that's the thing. Like, I don't know either, because when she was doing the whole Tough Enough thing, she was my favorite to win.
She was a lot of people's favorite to win.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. It's like, especially when they were doing the whole guy-girl thing, Tough Enough wise, especially back in the day. Like, I know, like, it was two girls won it 1 year, two guys won it 1 year. Then first year was a guy and a girl. Either way, I was always down for Ivelisse to win the Stone Cold version of Tough Enough.
Yeah.
When they had the spinner belt as a thing. And yeah, I was always a fan of Ivelisse then, and I was like, I always wanted her to win, but she finally got eliminated and didn't win. Which sucked.
Yeah, I didn't know about Ivelisse until Lucha Underground, but then when I started watching Lucha Underground, I was like, holy shit, who is this? Like, and then I learned she was on Tough Enough, but that was when I wasn't watching wrestling.
Well, you're better off on that one, because the guy.
So I've been told.
Well, the guy that did win it, he was our. What's weird about it is the guy that did win it, he was under a developmental contract, but then they released him for his contract. This is what was stupid about it. He was under contract, released him from his contract just so he could do the show for him to win his contract right back.
Oh, so Tough Enough was the work.
Very much.
You were right. It is all work.
But the guy that did win it didn't really deserve to win it.
I forget who won that. It seems to me like you don't want to win Tough Enough, because it usually doesn't seem to work out for people.
His name was Andy.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah,
I don't know who this dude is.
Well, his name was Andy, but like Big Andy, because he was a big guy, like tall wise and everything, to where you think he could do something, and no, nothing at all. So I'm sorry, but it seems like of everybody who did win Tough Enough, the ones who really did anything was John Morrison and Maven.
Maven won Tough Enough?
Who?
Maven?
He was the first one.
Oh, wow, I'm out of it today. For some reason, I was thinking, you said Maven, I was thinking Mabel. I was like, what? What are you talking about?
No, Maven, the bald-headed school teacher.
Speaking of releases, WWE had another round of releases.
Yeah.
And I've got to be honest, a lot of them surprised me, considering their current booking. I was surprised that they were. Well, I'm not surprised they released Samoa Joe, but I'm disappointed.
Okay. Well, He's one of those. It's like Daniel Bryan, injury prone.
Right, I get that. But did you catch how they did him dirty? Because before they announced the releases, I want to say it was Raw. It was Raw or Smack. Which show was Joe commentating on? Was that Raw or SmackDown?
Raw.
That's what I thought. So on that one episode of Raw, they were like, Samoa Joe can't be here tonight. Here's MLB caster such and such. And then a few days later, they announced the releases. I was like, really, motherfucker?
Well,
You're gonna do
technically,
him like that?
technically, that guy replaced Mike Rome.
I don't care. I don't know who
Or
Mike Rome is.
Tom Phillips. Tom Phillips.
Good riddance. Why didn't they release his worthless ass? Is it just me, or is like the WWE commentary team just trash right now?
I see, and that's the thing is, I love Joe on commentary.
I love Joe. Yeah, he was arguably, and I'm gonna catch heat for this. I know a lot of people like Corey Graves. I don't like him on commentary because to me he sounds fake. Like he sounds like he's acting. I don't buy it. He's no Jerry the King Lawler as a heel commentator.
Well, see, another guy I do like who's not with WWE no more, who surprisingly worked TNA.
Mauro Ranallo?
Yes,
Love that dude. Love that guy. One of my favorite commentators. Period.
Yes.
And WWE did him dirty too.
Right.
But boy, was he great in NXT or what?
Yes, he was.
That was phenomenal. AEW needs to sign that dude. Actually, you know what? Impact needs him more than anybody.
Well, I think AEW is going to be getting Mauro Ranallo. So,
yeah, but who are they going to replace? Because I don't really dislike anybody on AEW's commentary team.
To me, though, it's like they've got a lot of commentators as it is.
Yeah, I know, but I don't mind that because they kind of spread them out pretty well. Although I guess you put Mauro on I don't know where you would put Mauro Ranallo.
I think you need to replace Mauro with Tony for Evolution.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Paul White and Mauro Ranallo would be a really good team, I think. Not that Tony Schiavone's bad. I don't think Tony Schiavone's bad at all.
No, I love Tony. That's why it's like do it this way. It's like leave a certain commentating team for each show. Because Excalibur and Taz does Dark, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, have Excalibur, JR, and Tony do this show. Taz and another person do Dark. And then Big Show and another one do Revelation.
At least for the time being, yeah. Which, again, you could rotate, too. Which I think that would be interesting.
Well, no, you're right. But I see Mauro as the Evolution one because it's I keep saying that wrong. It's Dark Evolution, right?
Elevation.
Okay. Because he's the type that actually brings out the stories of the backgrounds of people.
Yep.
And he'd be perfect, especially for all these newcomers.
Yep. I agree 100%. Now, not only that, Mauro just gets you into a match.
Well, yes, he does.
So he'd be perfect in Elevation, where they're trying to elevate all these younger talents.
Now, speaking of releases and doing dirty.
Oh, Mickie James.
Yes.
I'm calling this. That was not a mistake. That was done deliberately.
No, what's funny is about that is a buddy of mine. Because I was watching his story on Instagram. Hazard F5. Go follow him. Good guy talking about wrestling belts and knowledgeable in history.
Have him on.
Do what?
We should have him on.
If we would do an episode of Wrestling Belt Knowledge,
I was gonna say we'll totally do belts.
If we do an episode of Wrestling Belt Knowledge, I will talk to him about that one because he knows belts. Like I go to him when it comes to stories about wrestling belts because he knows everything to a T. Because he actually, before we get into what I was going to say, he actually just did a video on the new IWGP World Title. And he did a review on it because a guy who goes by the name of Belt Fan Dan made the belt.
Oh, okay.
For IWGP. And Belt Fan Dan is known for getting hands on ring used wrestling belts and, selling them, to make money or whatnot. Not like outrageous prices or whatnot. They're actually good prices. But like he's actually making belts to sell too. But he did a review on it, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, the actual company, had him take it down because apparently he slandered them, which he didn't.
Well, but the belt is ugly, in my opinion. It's like it wasn't broken. Why'd you fix it? There's nothing wrong with the IWGP belt. It was one of the best looking belts around today.
Because you unified both belts together. So you got to create a brand new belt. Look what they did with the Undisputed title. Yeah, but they took the Attitude Era belt, the world title belt, and put them together. So they made the new Undisputed title.
Yeah, but I just the new IWGP belt is ugly. I don't. It's an ugly belt.
I get what you're saying. I do.
Yeah, kind of like the Universal Championship, although it's not as ugly as the Universal Championship.
It's the WWE title, but a different strap.
Yeah, no, they're both ugly belts.
Well,
anyway, Mickey
James. Yeah, my buddy was talking about how back when Maria Kanellis was there in her last round, apparently when she got fired, they did the same thing to her. In a trash bag. They did the whole time thing of they sent her stuff in a trash bag, yada yada yada. But she wasn't butthurt about it because it wasn't a big thing. But now she's making a big deal about it because of how politically correct the world is now.
Oh, she's gonna get hired somewhere because of it. I'm sure.
Mickey. No. What I'm saying, no, Mickey will. What I'm saying is like Maria Kanellis had the same thing done to her by WWE.
Right.
With the trash bag thing, with her stuff in it, but she didn't make a big deal.
I would wager to say another reason, probably not the only reason, but another reason she didn't make a big deal out of it was because I think she and Mike Bennett were just like begging to get out. Because I'll be honest, if I was Mike Bennett, I would have been pissed.
What happened?
We lost your video, but I can still hear you.
Hold up. I'm coming. Hold on, sir. Hold on.
By the way, while we're waiting on Ben to get back on video, I would like to remind the people watching out there, the chat box is live and functioning. Should you have any comments, questions, concerns. All right, he's back.
That's weird.
Yeah, very weird, but it is what it is.
That's never done that before, ever.
Never. But yeah, I like I was saying, if I'd been Mike Bennett, I think I would have been pissed at the way I was booked.
Well, no, this is Maria way before she met Mike Bennett.
I thought you meant on her like last run.
That's what I was saying. Like this is Maria way before. This is when Maria was ditzy. That ditzy. Remember when she first started? She was all ditzy, and they started taking seriously. Like eventually, could wrestle, and she won the belt, and that round.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
This is when she went to go to ROH, and then she met Mike, and then did the whole Kingdom thing or whatnot. That's what I was getting at.
First Lady of Pro Wrestling, awesome gimmick. That was a good time for her.
Yes. Let's see who else got released. Kalisto.
Yeah.
Kalisto,
which is okay because Kalisto will get scooped up by somebody. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, here's why I dislike that. So I've heard it said by more than one person that really the only reason they hired Kalisto was to replace Rey Mysterio.
And
And I think the only reason they got rid of Kalisto is because they got Rey Mysterio back. And it seems to me that Rey's probably not going anywhere in the near future because they also hired his son.
Right.
Which I get it, but to me, because Kalisto's so good, but they never used him.
Other than when the Cruiserweight title was actually hot. When actually, no, I'm talking about the Enzo days.
Was it ever?
It was the main event of Raw in Indianapolis. That was a big moment that night when the Shield reunited.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I was there the night that Enzo when Kalisto beat Enzo to win the cruiserweight title from Enzo.
Oh,
So
speaking of Enzo, Big Cass debuted last night in Impact as well.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Thankfully, Enzo was not there.
Right.
There's a couple of haters. Yes.
Cass is okay. I mean, I don't think there's a big group.
Yeah, I tend not to be too keen on guys who knock themselves out in wrestling matches.
Right. Let's see. Here's one. No, I'll leave her for last. Who is another one that got released?
The ones that really surprised me were the Iconics, Peyton Royce, and I am totally blanking her name, which really sucks. Billie Kay.
Now, see which one was it? They'll go to A. I'm going to say this right now. They're going to go to AEW.
Oh yeah, I see. But why I'm confused about this? First of all, I was a fan of the Iconics. I thought they were really good, particularly Peyton Royce. But I'm not taking anything away from Billie Kay. They surprised me at how good they were because I remember even when they were back in NXT, and not only were they good, they were entertaining. I enjoyed watching what they were up to. But why this came out of left field for me is because they were actually doing something with Peyton Royce there for a little bit.
Right.
So this, to me, just kind of came out of nowhere.
And Billie Kay was like, they just had her straggled and confused of like what to do with her, and at Mania they put her with Carmella and all that too. So it's like, but now,
doing okay though. Carmella's doing okay though.
Well, yeah, but she's with. Look who she's with though. She's with Corey Graves. But now Billie Kay can go to AEW and be with her husband, Shawn Spears.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yep, you're right.
So.
Oh, wouldn't that be interesting if they joined the Pinnacle?
Oh. Oh yeah.
And they're gonna take a jab and call themselves Iconic. But think about this. Here's some armchair booking for you. Then the Pinnacle also can have the women's title, potentially.
Right.
So they've got people in their faction that can go after every title in the company.
Right. Right.
So here's a good one for you. This would be a long, drawn out storyline. But since we're doing the AEW Impact, not merger but cooperation. What if you had the Pinnacle? What's that?
What, they could win the Knockouts tag titles?
No, I'm thinking about this. So, well, I mean, that's one thing they could do. But you have the Pinnacle go on like a year or so long just belt collecting spree. And you could have Billie Kay or Peyton Royce, doesn't matter. One of them can be the Knockouts champion and the other can be the AEW Women's champion.
Yeah.
Just think about it. In the Pinnacle, you've got FTR, which would go after the AEW tag titles.
Try to win them back, yeah.
Yeah. MJF would go for the AEW title, but Shawn Spears could easily, I think, be an appropriate Impact World Champion.
Right. But they also got to get past the Kenny Omega.
Well, right. That's it would be it would be a long, drawn out story, probably starting with Kenny Omega losing belts or vacating or something to that effect.
Yeah, because he's starting to become Ultimo Dragon.
That's a good joke.
Yeah.
So I think that was all the releases, wasn't there? Oh well.
No,
fun fact: Jim Cornette actually. I was listening to Jim Cornette. Apparently, Mark Carrano got fired.
well, yes, he got fired for what he did to Mickey James.
Allegedly, I think he was already on the way out though.
Well, and here's the thing: is I would hate to be in this spot.
Oh yeah, I would too. And here's the reason why I say he was already going to get fired, because somebody in Mark Carrano's position definitely will get disciplined for something like that, but they don't get fired for something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, they obviously do.
Well, no, what I'm saying is I think he was already going to get fired.
Well, that's the thing, though, is like, here's the thing, though, is like, as soon as that happened, and the said wrestler seen that, took a picture and publicly blasted it all over social media, especially when WWE and Triple H celebrities get tagged in it, it's like, okay, you're fired. Because you're making the company look bad too.
But here's why I disagree with that. And again, this is just my opinion. I could be totally wrong, but if I'm Vince McMahon and I actually want to save face, nobody knows who did it. No, nobody outside. Like, people in the company would know, but nobody actually knows who put the thing in the bag or who ordered it or what have you.
Right.
So, well, like, I honestly, I think, because both Triple H and Stephanie were saying something to the effect of the person responsible has been terminated, but they didn't identify this person. That's bullshit.
Well, but all the smart marks are going to know it's Mark Carrano, especially when like you got people, all the workers who have been released before, get asked to shoot interviews and everything online about the person who actually does that position. Everybody knows who freaking Mark Carrano is, because he's the guy who's in between talent and management. He's the one that's got to make both sides happy.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is Mark Carrano is not the person who put that in a bag. It was probably something to the effect of like, oh yeah, this is Mickey's stuff. Just, send it to her. Like, Mark Carrano didn't physically put it in a bag and put it in a box. He didn't know and I don't think it was malicious either. I think it was just somebody who is like, oh, well, okay, I'll put it in here and then put it in a box.
Well, what's funny is not so long after it got announced that it was him doing it and everything, I saw another report, don't know how true this is, that his ex-wife or girlfriend or whatnot, obviously, I don't believe this to be true, but hey, anything can happen in wrestling. Says that he was still in WWE title belts and hiding them under his bed.
That will get you fired.
And she even tweeted to them and everything. Hey, if you have your belts are here at his house underneath his bed. It's like, okay.
How much you want to bet on Saturday night he turns the lights down low, straps that thing on?
Which belt?
Whichever he felt like. I bet you he had wrestling poses he did with just the belt.
It's like, yeah, look, all the wrestlers have the belts, and I can never win them, but it's like, oh, I've got a few belts here now.
That thing strapped around his waist doing fucking bodybuilder poses.
All right, now, all right, here was one more that did get released. I left her for last and the reason why I left her for last is because there was a promotional video released by Impact Wrestling setting up for Slammiversary.
Okay.
And 3 people that got released from WWE recently was in this trailer. And that was Samoa Joe, Mickie James,
both of whom have been in Impact before, yeah.
and Chelsea Green.
I forgot about Chelsea Green, which was a shame because she's another just fantastic.
And it's got Chelsea Green in her old gimmick from when she was a TNA with the crazy lunatic girl.
Mess, yeah.
Yes.
which I knew. Okay, so I had a feeling when Chelsea Green came to NXT the first time. I was like, yeah, I don't think she's going to be there long because they just don't get her.
Right. She's not the.
She didn't look like Chelsea Green to me. She looked like just another. I hate to say this way, but she looked like another girl. And right, I'm like, wait, I'm like, oh, that is Chelsea Green. Not the Chelsea Green I'm used to seeing.
Right, that's the point. It's like you used to see this with the makeup and everything over her face, and she's crying.
Not even that. It just didn't. I don't know, because Chelsea Green really, even when she wasn't doing the physical hot mess gimmick, I don't know. She stood out more, I guess.
Well, this goes back to my question. Not my question, but this goes back to the point of that video we made of like people who belong in a certain organization. Chelsea Green is TNA Impact.
I think she'd do okay in AEW, but for right now, I agree she's an Impact player.
I mean she's she's a former Impact Women's Champion.
Yep.
So, yeah, knockouts. Yeah, former Impact Knockouts champion. No, I get it. It didn't click with me though that for the longest time it was that she was the Knockouts champion, because and considering she was with Zack Ryder, because I'd watched some of his videos online of him in his home, and in the background I'd see all of his belts and I'd see another belt. I'm like, what belt is that? I look at it closely, it's the Impact Knockout style. I was like, oh, it didn't click with me at the time. I'm like, oh, okay, like. He's not supposed to have that belt hanging up in his house. Doesn't matter now.
Is it just me, or is Dr. Britt Baker actually a little bit hotter right now than Adam Cole? I almost said Michael Cole.
I mean, she's always hotter than Adam Cole, but that's
I don't mean physically. I mean as far as the streak, but I mean, yeah, she is hotter than Adam Cole, which I would hope. But
I think her name is more synonymous as
in that company for sure. Like Dr. Britt Baker is AEW. She's one of the big time players.
Needs to win the belt.
I think they're setting up for that because I'm loving it. Where she's getting up in the rankings, but the funny thing is, I think we're gonna see a face turn.
Oh, she doesn't need to be a face.
I agree, but here's why I say that. Or maybe we're gonna have a case of a real asshole heel, which are my favorite kind, where the ones that are like, yeah, they're heels, but they're also good. Like she's not a chicken shit heel.
Yeah, she was the crybaby heel, but now it's like we need to make her more serious as a heel and actually give her the belt. She needs to win the belt. She's the number one contender.
I think she is number one now, right?
She's been number one for a long time. She's just never had a fair shake at the title.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying is like because she went down in the rankings, and then they were doing that thing where she was appearing on Elevation and Dark to get her win record up, and now I think she is number one, and I think she's the legitimate number one contender.
Well, that's like Best Friends. They were technically number one.
Yeah, two,
huh?
Yeah, but it was the Best Friends. And wasn't Trent out with an injury?
Actually, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was out with an injury because it was Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy coming out together for a very long time. And I figured Trent was injured.
Yeah, Best Friends, they were number one, but all of a sudden, Death Triangle was number one contenders. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Why, you upset because they didn't win there, buddy?
No, I like what's happening. I like the Young Bucks as heel champion. I like the Young Bucks as champions, period. But I like them as heel champions right now. I think that's what needs to be going on. Because I want the Elite to be back together.
Yeah, what are they called now? The Super Elite?
I think so.
Okay.
And they're acknowledging Bullet Club too, which I like.
I mean, technically they're doing the stuff with Japan, so that's like.
Yeah,
That's
which
why.
I want more of.
So that's how they
I
get
want
away.
this shit to come back. I want more of these.
I'd want my own shirt, Tim.
Dude, I cannot believe how big of a pain in the ass this has been. So what's happening is
No,
the
I was just saying in general. No, go ahead.
I mean, technically, you do have your own T-shirt. It's just not available yet on our official Teespring merchandise store
Oh, okay.
because the just the way the program works, the black in the logo does not match the black in the shirts, so it would look weird.
Okay.
And I'm trying to work with them to figure out. But the way their platform works is I can't upload something that doesn't have a background because I have an image that has no background, but it just makes it black when I upload it. So
Okay.
it is straight up pissing me off.
Well,
So very soon, as soon as possible, down the middle T-shirts will be available. But I'm just sorting out the color issue.
well, maybe we need to change the color. What was that?
Besides, everybody likes black T-shirts more.
Oh no, I know, but I'm just stating in general, like. But that's you're the creator of the stuff, so.
Try. I feel like that's a good place to stop right there. Actually, we covered everybody that got released, right?
I believe so.
I think we got through everybody.
I could be wrong, but I believe we did.
Anybody you wish had gotten released?
Oh, speaking of saying that, so I need to get released. I did remember there was someone we didn't talk about, Mojo Rawley.
Oh yes, he did get released, but that good riddance.
All right, then we'll just leave it at that then.
I wish Aleister Black had gotten released.
Yeah, well, they just finally brought him back to TV.
Yeah, I wish Aleister Black had gotten released so bad. Although I want to know, Thea Trinidad is putting up some interesting things online, and I want to know what she's gearing. She's gearing up for something. I just don't know what it is. I think she might be. I think she might be wrestling somewhere, or going to be, because it seems like she's doing a lot of strength and conditioning training, from what I can tell. But I don't know what it is, and I don't know where it is.
Well, how do you know it could be wrestling? How do you know it's not her cosplaying that she's doing?
But strength and conditioning, because she's always done the cosplay. But
right, but she probably wants to look more physically fit for it, though.
I don't think she's got a problem there.
I was just saying.
Yeah, maybe, but it seems to me like it's performance based, so something athletic, which it may not be wrestling for all I know. Could be anything, but wouldn't it be a motherfucker if she started fighting like MMA?
No, she can stay out of that.
I agree. I don't. She doesn't need to be a fighter. She doesn't need to be in all that. I mean, she can if she wants to, but it's not. I wouldn't want to see her fight.
No.
Well, I take that back. Thunder Rosa. I've seen Thunder Rosa fight.
Okay, if she is getting ready to start wrestling, and she doesn't go to the other companies, then she can go with Thunder Rosa in the NWA.
Well, I say that, but then I like what Thunder Rosa's doing, so I don't know. I want the NWA to get built up, even though it's not my cup of tea from a style perspective.
Well, from what I've been reading, it's been doing pretty well.
Good, and I want it to do well because I want to live in a world where everybody can watch the kind of wrestling they like.
Right.
It's like NWA is so not my cup of tea, but I want it to do well.
Well, I'm a big fan of the NWA, and I've always wanted to succeed, and it's had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and it's still going on to this day.
I was super excited though about NWA, and I would think it was when they first. Well, no, this is even before Power, but this is basically at the time of All In when Nick Aldis was the champion.
Oh, okay.
and he lost it to Cody. But I liked what I saw.
Yeah, he's in the second reign of almost 3 years. 3 years of being the world's heavyweight champion. He's almost three or almost four. One of the two.
I like what I see.
Hey, he's the world's Nick Aldis is the man. He's the world's heavyweight champion. That's what I like.
And he'd be a world heavy. Okay, so fun. We'll do this and then we'll cut it off. But speaking, you were talking about who belongs where. I think Nick Aldis is tailor made for NWA.
Well, that's right. That's why he's the world's heavyweight champion. I mean, nobody can touch him.
I know, but I mean, like, just as a wrestler, I think he's tailor made to be NWA champion.
He's got the old school look.
Big time. And the old school attitude, the way he carries himself, the way he acts when he's holding the belt. Like,
I know we were talking about the Cole cutting off thing, but he reminds me of Adam Pearce. I don't know if you know who Adam Pearce is.
yeah, I know who Adam Pearce is.
Okay. Yeah, that's why will go along with Adam Pearce thing. When I saw when they're doing this whole little thing of Adam Pearce is going to wrestle against Roman, I'm like, oh, Adam, please let Adam wrestle. Because I'm sorry, but Adam would out wrestle Roman Reigns any day of the week. But they didn't let him wrestle. He had to be the chicken shit management type things. Like, don't do that. Don't do that.
They did it.
So.
All right, sir. I think we'll leave it at that.
All right.
But thank you again for checking out Down the Middle. You can see all our past episodes on the RT Media YouTube page. There is a playlist there. Check out Ben's channel. Check out my channel. Check it all out. And don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll bring you more Down the Middle in a couple of weeks.